Good afternoon, Sonor family. This is Jules, and today we've got Tal Bergman, and he's a longtime Sonor endorser, and we're going to talk to him about his years with Sonor and his gear. And I'm very excited about this. Tal, thank you for being with us, sir.
My pleasure.
So, tell us about your professional career and at what point Sonor became a part of what you were doing.
Whoa. Sonor became a part when I've got a gig. I think it was in 1990
Hmm.
when I got a tour with a world tour with Billy Idol, and at that time it was really a big arenas and stadiums and stuff.
Hmm.
And before that, it was very tough for me to even get any kind of endorsements because I was just playing in New York, a bunch of jazz clubs and all that stuff, and that was not really. um, so I went and I've checked with a few big manufacturers,
Hmm.
and I must say that when I played Sonor, it was by far just better and very durable.
Hmm.
And the sound was exactly the way I like it, which was very, at that time, was very, I don't want to say thick, but he had a lot of meat
Hmm.
and a lot of tone where even if I play in any dynamics, you can still hear the drum, which for me, I play very dynamic. Even if I do a rock gig,
Hmm.
you know, I like to play dynamics even within the groove itself. So it really projects and and I spoke to them, and they were extremely nice to me. And and it was Karl Heinz and uh, whoever was in there, the guys, uh, and so I got together with them, and they hooked me up with whatever I needed.
Hmm.
And I remember when I went on my first tour. I was asking, I need extra stands, extra this in case something goes wrong. And they said, nothing is going to go wrong. I said, nothing is going to break. I said, sure, I'm just going to go on a 9 months world tour. And I got my extras, whatever I needed.
Yeah.
And I was using then just the 22, 12, 16, and 18, and and a big brass snare,
Hmm.
the one that was made in a cast of sand.
Yes.
And was I think it was a 8 inch or something, 14 by 8. Um, and was really I did that whole tour and nothing broke, I must say.
So what drum set did you get at that time? Do you remember what series it was?
Maybe highlight or whatever was the top of the line back then.
Okay.
And he had a really that huge hardware
Hmm.
that I love so much.
Yeah, I remember seeing you in advertisements in Modern Drummer with the highlight stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
well,
so I didn't know if there was anything before that or if that was your first gear with them or what.
there might be before. I wouldn't really remember. I'm
I
not a,
got you.
I'm not a big guy on, if it sounds good, I play it. And
I got
another thing is I said, if my picture will be next to Jack DeJohnette, I'm doing good.
you. Yeah,
That
absolutely.
would be okay. My dream is, you
Wow.
know,
Yeah.
fulfilled.
So do you still have the highlights or is all that older stuff gone?
No, I have all my drums.
Do you?
That I have. Yes, but I have another kit that I really like. There was a birch, and I think it's SQ2. I'm not so sure that they made specially for me when I was on the last tour I did with Joe Bonamassa,
Hmm.
and it was more of a 22 Same snare, just a modern version of it. It was a 6 inch, and another one that's auxiliary, like a 12 inch.
Hmm.
And I was using smaller tones on that, which was 8, 10, 12 rack and 14, 16. Um, but then I tuned them low.
Hmm.
So I really got a lot of tone. Uh, and Sonor drums, even in smaller size, they sound like other drums, bigger sizes.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree. And did
Uh,
you say, I'm sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
did you say birch?
E- Beach, I'm sorry.
Beech. Nope,
Beach,
that's
not
okay.
birch, beach.
Gotcha. How did you like, the highlights were maple. So how did you like the beech versus the maple?
I thought it was great for live gigs because it was projecting and it was really it had more of an attack
Hmm.
maybe, I don't know. And then I was at the time I was also talking to my tech in town, which is um, Angel City Drum Work with John. And we went through it and he said that this would be the base configuration. And I trust him. He's the best. So I went with that. And those drums still, I've been using them in sessions all the time because they just sound great.
Yeah. So along the way with Sonar, has there ever been anything that really stuck out as being over the top awesome, or have you ever had anything that just didn't quite, live up to what your expectations were? Anything either way there?
Look, the one thing I got to say about Sonor that I love
Hmm.
is even let's say I'll be on tour, my drums will be in cases for half a year or a year. And if I take them out, they'll still be tuned.
Hmm.
They will keep their tuning. And um, I mean, I must admit that I loved the old hardware, but was really, really heavy.
Hmm.
And I understand that, it's probably too expensive to do today. And most people don't have techs that will get their gear. So to carry it, it'd be
Right.
fucking crazy.
Hmm.
So, but that stuff was not moving.
Hmm.
And to me, it's extremely important when I play because sometimes I play really hard.
Right.
I want to know that everything is there and I don't need to put, sandbags or nail it or do whatever crazy stuff to keep it there. But besides that, I've been with Sonor, I think, about 35 years maybe.
Hmm.
Wow.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And, you know, even if I'll go and I'll need to get a rental kit or whatever, and let's say I'm abroad on a small tour, and they will supply me with a kit there that even comes from a rental company,
Hmm.
those drums will be great.
Yeah.
So I can really trust the that the sound is very cohesive, and it's always will be there, even if it's like it would be like from rental that they rented to a bunch of people. Those drums will still be, maybe have to get new heads, but
Hmm.
they, you know, I love, I must say that the snare that I'm using, I think it's the expensive one, the heavy one.
Yeah. The 6 inch or the 8 inch right
That's
now?
six. I've been using six forever.
That's the artist bronze, right? Is that the,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Even though I'll go to sessions and I'll have, 6 to 8 to 12 snares,
Hmm.
that would be the one. I would say 99% of the stuff I do, and it doesn't matter in what kind of music or what situation. I'm serious. It can be a bebop, can be funk,
Hmm.
it can be a hard rock, it can be a pop. That drum, nobody ever said to me, "Oh, can we try another drum?" It's how you play it. Of course, with different, you can hit it in different ways, but it's just a perfect snare drum to me. but that's for my and I can get anything I want from it. Really, really high, I can pitch it high, or really, really low, and it'll be really fat. But it's almost because it's so heavy, but it has a combination to me, almost like a wood snare,
Hmm.
but it's not. It has all the attack of metal. So I mean, I love it.
You know, that's an expensive snare drum, and people that haven't played it feel like it's a lot of money. And the whole
Worth
Sonor,
every dollar. Worth every dollar.
and the whole Sonor line is the same way. People that don't play Sonor and that don't really understand it, they can't fathom why it's
Okay.
the cost as much.
If you want to be a working drummer,
Hmm.
I'm not talking about just drummers that do YouTube or, like working. Sound is at least 50% of why you're going to get hired.
Hmm.
Your sound, if there is something that you don't want to, you know, you want to spend the money on, if you can afford it or if not save or whatever, a great drum sound, first of all, will make you play better
Hmm.
because sound makes you play.
I totally agree with that. I'm inspired when I play my drums because I tune them up well. I play good drums like you're talking about, and it really inspires you when everything's really cooking.
Yeah, because if not, it's just that 5% less is the difference of you getting the gig or not.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's really, to me, it's always been important to, because I mean, I started when I was a kid. I think my first drum set was a combination of, I mean, my first drum set my father made me from tin drums. You sell for kids. And I used to go with it to the kindergarten. But my real drum set was a combination, I think, of, I don't know, Premiere and Slingerland and this and that. And it's just what we could afford when I was a kid. But uh, I would say with the Sonor drums, it might be expensive, but first of all, it will last you a lifetime.
Hmm.
And second of all, it makes you play better. So let's say even if I had to buy it, I wouldn't hesitate if I'm a professional drummer.
Right.
Because you want to go wherever you go, your sound has to be happening. I
Hmm.
remember when I used to live in New York, and I used to play in the clubs, I had my own sound system because I didn't trust anybody. I had my own rack, my own microphones, my compressors, my EQ, my reverb, just because I wanted to hear it the way I want to hear it. And then I would send them stereo out
Yeah.
because sound is important. And if people hear you and say, wow, man, that sounds good, they want that on their record or on their tour. So it's important.
Sure. So I see the vintage series set over there. How do you like that? Obviously, you must love it, or you wouldn't be recording with it. Uh,
Yeah,
but but but
I love it. I mean, it's really an all-around drum set that you can really play, especially in the studio. It's more all-around drums for me.
Mhm.
When I play, let's say, even if I have to play something that's more folky or this or that, they breathe. So, you can get more out of them.
Mhm.
That's more like for different kinds of music. But I still use my snare drum there, same one.
Yeah. Now, as far as that snare drum goes, do you have just one of those that you take wherever you go, or you got a couple of those?
More than couple. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because also if I'm touring, I cannot have one. I mean, I gotta have at least two.
Right.
If something goes wrong in the middle of a show, you break a head or whatever, it's very important to have two bass drum pedals, two hi-hats,
Hmm.
at least.
So with the thin shells on the vintage series drums you've got,
Yeah.
when you're really playing hard, do you ever overdrive those shells?
In a studio,
Mm.
I never play too hard because I think in any drum, when you play too hard, it starts choking.
Hmm.
and I just have ambassadors coated on them with barely any, you know, like if you can see over there, there is maybe just a rolled gaffer tape to kill just a little bit of the overtones,
Hmm.
but these drums tune themselves. So to me, if you tune to where the drum sounds best, and it's just naturally, and they sound amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've got a set of them myself, and I really like them. And
yeah, they're beautiful. I mean, I don't think I've tried them on the road on a big rock thing, but I'm sure it's how you play. Anyways, on drums, if you hit too hard, it's going to sound smaller. That's just you need to have, I would let's say, a loud attitude, but
hmm
you don't have to play that loud. You want to, because also you're going to lose the groove if you are just hitting too hard.
hmm
I mean, unless I'm doing a punk gig, but I can do that.
Gotcha. So you mentioned having lived in New York. You're out in L.A. now, right?
Yes, I've been in LA since 1990.
How do you like it out there?
It's always like a vacation. The
Uh,
weather is great.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the difference with me from living in New York and moving to LA was in New York, I lived for 9 years and I played on tons of demos and played, jazz clubs with different configurations and funk and really great music. But I played on demos.
Hmm.
Maybe I did one record when I was there. The moment I moved to LA, and that was because I got that gig with Billy Idol, I had to move here.
Hmm.
Um, it all started to be records. So it's the difference is, when you work here, at least then, the work was real. It was like real sessions, best musicians in the world,
Hmm.
you know, and so I like that, but I still like the energy of the East Coast on players personally. I like the edge. So, but a lot of the musicians that are here are from, East Coast,
Yeah.
from all over the world.
So did you have any concerns with the fires? Did you at any time wonder if you were going to have a problem with that?
I live in a valley,
Hmm.
and luckily, um, it's it wasn't. I didn't feel any, threat because we are not close to any of the mountains or all that stuff. Even though I know a lot of people that, you know, lost everything.
Yeah. Sad
So,
situation for sure.
oh, it's crazy. I'm sure we're going to feel it for years.
Yeah. So did you go to NAM? You went to NAM, didn't you?
I did for a minute. Yeah,
For a minute?
I did. I had to play there in one of those jams. So I played for, you know, two songs and then said hi to the guys at Sonor. Had a drink with them. It was great. And my son came with me and he went to Disneyland.
Oh,
So, but he's seen me play, so that was great.
good.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the new gear, the 150th anniversary gear they released over there?
I haven't really checked it out. It just looked bunch of gold. So that's something we can't afford or we're not going to get. So
I got you. So you didn't go check out that new cast bronze snare drum they've got?
mm,
That would have been right up your alley, I would think.
no, I didn't check it out. Is it good?
Uh,
What's the difference?
it's just the 150th anniversary. It's got the modern hardware on it and the dual
Uh-huh.
glide system and all that. And they only made 100 of them. And I don't know how many of them are coming to the United States, but they're a very limited run. And but with your affinity with the cast bronze stuff, I figured that might draw your attention. So I didn't know if you'd check that out.
Why would I check something I can't get?
Hey,
It's
I
like it's just like going shopping, but you can't buy anything. I don't
yeah,
know.
I call it you know, women go window shopping. When I don't have any money, I call it window shoplifting. I'm not
There
really
you go.
stealing, but in my mind, I'm taking it home, right? So, anyway,
Yeah, it's exactly.
so um, since you're U.S. based, you've been with several different distributors with Sonor, right? Honer, uh, were you ever with Korg? Did your endorsement ever go through Korg, or was that before your time?
I think before my time.
Before your time.
I
So,
usually was dealing with Germany, and you know, and now I'm still dealing either with Germany or the guys here.
okay,
I don't, I never, I'm not one of those guys that ask for a lot of stuff.
right.
So I only, only when I really need it or if I go on the road or whatever. Because, besides that, I got enough drums for what I need. I'm saying mostly most of my sessions are four-piece kits.
Hmm.
And I would say that last few years, also since the Corona, 90% of the sessions, people send me stuff and I do it and send it back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the Beach SQ2s, is that your when are you touring now or have you in the last couple of years?
No, I just did like a run of like, a week here and a week there and then, used whatever they had or,
You use backline or
yeah, like backline, but then I asked for Sonor.
okay.
Uh, but this year I will have to really create a set for that tour that I'm going to be doing uh, in Europe at the end of the year because he wants a big drum set.
So how big is a big drum set for this tour?
I can only put something that I feel comfortable playing.
Hmm.
So I would say it's not going to be more than three racks and two floors and maybe, and two snares and maybe some percussion if I need to. Uh, and, I don't play double pedal or double bass drum. So it's one bass drum.
Yeah. So is that going to be an SQ2 kit or because the lead time on those is quite, as it takes them a while to get those things built and shipped.
I'm sure for that because it's going to be like a 4 weeks tour. They'll have enough time to find something for me that will fit what I want. And it probably will be SQ2s.
Okay. So you're not necessarily going to order up a kit from
No,
scratch.
why?
Okay.
Well, I'm going to bring it back home.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. No, it's so good.
I got you. So are you able to talk to us about that tour?
Yeah, the tour. Yeah, the tour is called, uh, you know, the name of it. It's called Carlos Alomar, which is a great guitar player, and he was a musical director for Boy for many years and wrote a lot of the stuff with him. It's called Carlos Alomar Presents the DAM Trilogy Back to Berlin Tour 2025. And it's the period of Bowie. That's not, it's not going to be like a tribute kind of a band. So I thought it was going to be great because we're going to get to really do it justice and have fun doing it. And also with the Carlos Salomar, he's actually the one that recommended me when I was young to play with Billy Idol.
Oh, really?
I can't ask for any better thing is to play with him. You know,
Now, do you still play with him?
with the Idol,
Yes.
I stopped. My last thing with him was around 2002, something.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, it's been a long time.
Yeah, obviously.
It
Yeah,
was great, great time and great tours, and he was like probably one of the best frontmans I've ever played with.
really.
Yeah, yeah, and he was really, he was really like a guy that goes and win an audience.
So what made you decide to step off of that gig?
Stopped gigging for a while, so
Yeah.
and I also like to combine. the touring with sessions and producing.
Hmm.
Uh, so, if you're on the road all the time, you're not, your career doesn't go up on the other end. So it's a kind of, and then, I mean, the last bunch of big tours I did was a few years ago, and I was with Joe Bonamassa.
Hmm.
But that was like 4.5 years of pretty much like, I don't know, 300 gigs a year or something. So, you know,
Was that backline equipment, or did you carry your own rig with you?
no, no, that I had my own rig.
And that was the SQ2s?
That was I think the ones that I told you, the beach.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they
Okay.
made specially for me for that. Yeah, and I had few sets with him through the years. It started with like like a 12, 16, and 18.
Hmm.
Then it was like maybe 10, 12, 16, 18. And then it was 8, 10, 12, 16, 18. Always a 22-inch bass drum and that same snare. It
Hmm.
depends on the music. And, some of the stuff that we did asked for more toms just because it was more like an English, had a vibe of like a 70s English rock when there those big drum fills.
Hmm.
So it was fun to have more tonality
Yeah,
to
I
it,
bet.
you know.
Hmm.
Why not? But now, yeah, we have a band together called Rock Candy Funk Party with Bonamassa. And, we have like 3 or 4 records out. That's more of like a funk, instrumental funk, jazz stuff that we do for fun. So that's been fun.
Are you going to tour with him again? Don't know.
Nothing that I know of. I don't think so. He
Okay.
has the same band for a while that I think he's very happy with. So that's fine. I just go wherever they call me, and
Gotcha.
whatever pays the mortgage.
Yes, sir. So going forward, if you were gonna go out on a new tour or something and pick out a new drum set, would you get another set of Beach, or would you try something else, or what do you think you would do in that case?
It depends on the music. It depends on what it's called for,
Hmm.
and also what's available. Because if you ask them to make you drums, that can be a long time.
Oh
It's
yeah.
and a lot of times when you get called for something, it's from today to tomorrow,
Hmm.
or last minute, or you have a month, and to start dealing with that, it would be tough. Uh, but the beach was working great live.
Hmm.
Just because it was loud, projects. But I'm I'm not inclined using maple. You know, I mean,
Hmm.
it depends. It depends on the gig, and in reality, they all sound good. So
Right.
it's how you play them. So and it depends on your soundman.
So are you when was the last time you pulled out your highlight and played those? Did they ever come out?
No,
No.
no,
Are they red? What color are those?
they were. I think they were black.
Black. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know why I was wanting to think I saw a picture of you with red ones, but
red ones.
I probably remember wrong because I mean it's been a long time since I even saw these pictures. So
I have the ones that they made me with the beach one. Is It's a like a gunmetal gray, which I love.
yeah.
And I think they got the color from Porsche.
When was that?
That was probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, whatever. Maybe more, maybe less. Yeah, they
Oh,
were great, and they still look brand new, and they've been on the road.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh, so I can find a picture of that and send it to you.
that'd be great. Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff from Ron Wixow, and do you know him?
Of course, he's great. I just met him at the NAMM show.
Did you? He's
I
a
know
he.
him for years, but I ran into him.
Yeah,
He
he's
looks
a
the same.
yeah. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy, great drummer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
very solid.
I bought all of his old snare drums a while back. I
Oh
got
wow.
I got a lot of stuff from him, and anyway, all these snare drums, some of this stuff has been out on major tours and all that. And these things are cleaning up so nice. I'm having fun one by one when the mood strikes. I'll tear them down. I'll soak all the rubber parts in silicone and, polish the shells. And they're cleaning back up so nice. It just goes back to what you were talking about the quality of the Sonor stuff. And
Oh yeah. The quality is really unmatched, I think. It's all like handmade. I mean, they really care
right,
about making. It's like, it's like, it's the quality to me, and it's important.
sure,
You don't want to have a great drum and suddenly the hardware starts falling apart, then the drum is worthless.
right.
I mean, really.
Yeah, you don't want breakdowns and issues while you're,
No.
especially when you're playing gear that you can't just go run to Guitar Center and buy another one.
No, no, and also you don't want to, if it's in the back of your mind when you're playing,
Hmm.
you have that little hesitation. That little hesitation is gonna fuck your playing up.
Right. I totally
You,
agree with that.
you want to know, like if you drive a car, you want to know you got the best brakes,
Hmm.
that you're safe, and also you can go 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. You want to know that.
Right.
Same with those drums.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I've never, I never even looked anywhere. Once I got with the Sonor, it was exactly what I like to hear. So to me, that was most important.
So did anybody ever approach you trying to get you to go with another company or think about going with another company?
Yeah,
Was there anybody that caught your eye that you thought maybe I ought to give this a look?
I wasn't, I didn't think it would be fair
Hmm.
to me to do anything like that. Uh, and and my connection with Sonor was really personal.
Yeah.
So I never really even checked or whatever. And then there was a period when people would offer me like, 20, 40 clinics a year and they will pay. And then I'll use the stuff, which actually I can make money. And I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I mean, who knows? And also sometimes the one thing was important for me is when I signed with Sonor that it's not going to be about the flavor of the month.
Hmm.
That you're not going to be, all right, now you're on a big gig, we're going to support you. Tomorrow, you're playing a wedding, we don't know you.
Right.
So to me, it was important that if I'm signing with you, we are together for, with the ups and the downs, because musicians always go, our life is like this. It's not always,
Hmm.
um, and to know that I have the support. That's very important for me. And they've been great with me, with support around the world. Even if there was a place where they didn't have drums, they flew them to me or shipped it to me.
Really.
That's,
Yeah.
that goes a long way to know that you have that covered.
Yeah, having good solid relationships in business or, anything is real good. So when you're dealing with a company like that where you've got a personal connection with people that want to support you and back you up, like you say, whether you're on the big tour or not, there's no replacement for that.
No, because also, first of all, to me, if I go with another company, it's just not going to be as good.
Hmm.
And what's in it for me? I'm just thinking even for myself.
Yeah.
What's in it for me? So what? I'm going to have an ad in some magazine. Who reads magazines? That never got me any work.
Hmm.
What got me work is how I sound
Right.
and how I play. Nobody said, "Oh, I saw his ads somewhere. Wow, it must be good."
Hmm.
It's a word of mouth. In this business, it's all always try to do the best for the music, and you will, you know. and we'll keep working.
Hmm.
I mean, that's my my thing.
Yeah. Are you friends with Todd Zuckerman?
I know him. He's
You know him?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I did an interview with him a while back, and he was just super excited to be back with Sonar after all these years. And I think that's great both ways. It's great for Sonar to have him back, but he's always had a huge heart for the brand and the product. And
yeah. He's a great drummer.
oh yeah, he really is.
Yeah,
And a good guy. I've
yeah.
I've had the pleasure of spending some time with him, and he's just as down to earth. But you know what? Everybody I've dealt with so far that's been a Sonar artist has been that way. I haven't met anybody with any attitudes or a head up in the clouds or anything. Everybody I've dealt with has just been really down to earth, normal guys.
But usually drummers are because they come from earth up. You know,
Yeah.
the drummers, they are the drivers. You have a crazy driver, fucking car is gonna go this way. I mean, and also I think on the, you know, I think the more you do it, you see that the people that are there and working, they are good people
Hmm.
because that's what comes in the music. When you play, your job is to do good and have people that are gonna have fun when
Hmm.
you're working and you're doing stuff. So there's guys. And I think maybe somebody that's using Sonor is not going to be somebody that is after the glitz
Hmm.
also. It's Sonor is not known for their huge marketing.
Right.
I
You're
mean,
right. I get it.
right? So it's not like I'm expecting from Sonor, you got to advertise me.
Hmm.
They never been, it's not their forte. Forte is making drums,
Right.
which is fine. I'll take
Hmm.
it. Uh, Yeah, so it's really, to me, my relationship with Sonor, if I would say, would be really great. That's really, I can't think of anything. I mean, there has been a change in the company.
Right.
Now I'm getting to meet new people and know them, and so a lot of my old relationships, but there is luckily Jerry is, I know him for years, and so
Hmm.
now I've a good friend, so I feel comfy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I haven't talked to Jerry in 20 years. I used to be a Sonar dealer, if you didn't know that.
No,
Yeah,
wow.
about 20 years ago. That's all I did was Sonar. I mean, I carried some cymbals and other stuff, but it was not the best business model, and it didn't take long before I was starving. So had to, hang that up and go make some money. So
I hear you.
yeah, and anyway, so Jerry was always, he's always been a solid guy, and I've gotten to know Jeff Mulvihill a little bit, and you know on the outside looking in, I wondered to start with because Jeff, he's the brand manager for Mapex and Sonar, and so you kind of wonder, okay, is this guy a hired gun? You know, but he actually, the more I talk to him, the more I get excited about what's going on with the Sonar brand and all that. So he's a good guy in that position, and I've been blessed to get to chat with him a few times.
Yeah, see, I barely know any of those guys, I must say, because they're in Nashville,
Hmm.
and the only time I meet them would be for, a few minutes at the NAM.
Right.
So, hopefully we'll get to do more and meet them and stuff like that more and keep the relationship going.
So
But
with
it's
Carl.
also my fault because I'm not a schmoozer. So I can't,
Oh.
I'm one of those, I'm not going to start calling, say, I need this, do this, do that.
Hmm.
Uh, but when I need it, they, they're there. That's my,
Since Carl Heinz has left Sonar in Germany, have you had much interaction with those guys over there yet?
The same thing. There is a new guy there,
Hmm.
uh, and he's been really nice. But no, see, when Carl was there, and then what's Link was the son many years ago.
Oliver?
Yeah, Oliver.
Yeah.
And those two were amazing.
Hmm.
Like to me, it, it was best connection because it was directly with them, and whoever was the A&R at those times, all those guys were amazing. So it was really I think a better time for me with Sono because they hooked up clinics, and I used to go and do drum clinics in Europe and here, and there was more action going on that part.
Hmm.
Now, I think that, they're trying to survive, or maybe they're looking for, if somebody's playing with somebody famous right now, probably is more, you know, they're more inclined to do stuff with them because, they want more people to buy the drums. I totally understand that. It's the nature of the business.
Hmm.
You know, if you're on a big tour, you play with somebody really famous, and there is maybe 20 dancers in front of you. I don't know.
Well, Todd Zuckerman, I did an interview with him about a month and a half ago,
Yeah,
and he was talking about before he came back with Sonar, he was talking to Steve Smith because he knew that things had changed in Germany, and he wanted to fill things out before. He said you don't want to get on a ship that's about to sink.
of course.
And Steve was just very positive about everything going on within the company, which is great because when you got somebody like Karl Heinz Menzel that was such an intricate part of the operation for so long, and then he retires, you have to kind of wonder, okay, what's about to happen? Are they going to change course? What are they going to do? And it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like things are going to stay on track for.
Well, I would say as long as they maintain whatever is their top of the line stuff,
Hmm.
you know, uh, whatever is the top of the line stuff, then I would say that would be the smart thing. I
Hmm.
know they probably have to do stuff that is a little cheaper so they can make money. And I know they have all the ORF stuff that makes the money. Uh, and I'm sure that the top of the line drums are so expensive also because it's made in Germany. And it's, but that's going to be like their haute couture. How do you say? you know, it's like if you want to maintain Sonor, the
Hmm.
name, you got to have top of the shelf stuff, even
Right.
if it's just for drawing people
Hmm.
into you.
Right.
So um, that to me is, as long as they keep doing that, then it's okay with me because I'm there because of the sound.
Right. Yeah, it looks like looks like what we've expected from them over the years is going to continue on into the future. So,
I hope I hope at one point they will do hardware that is going to be uh, as high quality as it used to be to me, the heavy stuff, that they had back in the like late 80s, early 90s.
yeah.
That to me was, I miss that.
I think the argument there is that, people have moved away from wanting that really heavy, the market is gone for that really heavy,
What goes around comes around.
you got that right. You got that right.
Because
So,
even musically, there is a time where now everybody's like into that bedroom sound, when it's like I can't say I'm not doing it. When
mhm,
people want it to sound kind of lo-fi and everybody's playing like this, really, like small technique and like loopy and all the stuff, which is great. I've been doing it for many years.
mhm,
But at some point, it comes back to meat and potato when you're gonna have more of this. And
Right.
when you play that, you want that stuff to stay there.
So when you were playing with Bonamassa, what hardware did you take? Did you take out
Whatever is their top of the line. I
just
don't
the
know.
600 series? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you didn't have an old stash of the old 500 or the 5000 or the signature stuff?
No, I can't take on the road something that is that old and who knows what. And and the bass drum pedal I use is the what's the name of it? And it's a great pedal.
Well, they have giant step.
Yeah, Giant Step.
Okay.
That who made it? It's a drummer. It's a great drummer. That he designed it and used to be with Sonor, but is not with
Okay. Yeah.
oh,
Lang, Thomas Lang.
Thomas Lang. Yeah,
Oh, so
great
are you
drummer.
using the dual action, whatever that is?
What's a dual action?
This one, uh,
I'm using
is it just a standard pedal?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Because
No,
they had one for a while. You could operate a beater with your toe and an operator beater with your.
no, no. Why?
Well, Thomas Lang,
Well,
he featured.
look. The great thing about him is, he's got chops,
Hmm.
and but he also knows to play extremely simple when needs to be.
Right.
So to me, that's showing okay, that guy can play because he understands when he needs to play. Let's say for a pop singer, you will not hear any of this stuff.
Hmm.
He can just play straightforward, and it'll be great because he knows all this other shit.
Hmm.
I don't play double bass drum just because when I was a kid, I couldn't afford another bass drum and there was no double pedal. And I love the hi-hat too much for me to not use it. And I don't think I ever got into a situation where I really need it. So, and if I do, I fake it with my floor and my bass drum. I can do really fast singles between them or
Hmm.
doubles or whatever I do. So I can burst into double pedal stuff, but without the double pedal. Uh, and I've never really, I don't know why, I never got into it. So to me, another pedal that does all this other stuff,
Hmm.
so it's too much for me. I
That
don't
I
know.
understand. I'm the same way. I'm a simple one bass drum guy, and
Yeah, I
and
mean,
like you,
there is a lot that can be done with one bass drum.
yeah.
I remember when I was in the early 80s, I was playing like a lot of like a Latin hip hop when it was music that was actually programmed by keyboard player. So you had to play like a lot of 16 notes on the bass drum that was so unnatural, like all this stuff. And I had to really practice to play it evenly with one pedal
Hmm.
because you still need to play all the shit on the hi-hat. So you're not going to be doing it, what, I'm going to have another auxiliary hi-hat with a closed hi-hat. And it's like, no, I worked on my foot
Hmm.
and you just have to work on it. And I like the challenge. To me, it's more fun. It's like I have only few colors to work with, and then I do my paintings with only, those few colors instead of having tons of colors. Each drum can have so many sounds.
Hmm.
All right, when you play a tom, you can get so many sounds of it. So with the snare, where you hit it, and all that stuff. So to me, it's always been going inside instead of outside. I don't know if it makes any sense.
No, I think that's a great way to articulate that. Absolutely.
So it's that doesn't say I'm not going to change it at one time in the future, but so far, you know, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, man, is there anything we haven't hit on yet?
I don't know who's watching this, but if there is younger people watching, I would just say number one, it's my father say, if you have nothing to say, don't play. And when the drummer plays, got to make people dancing
Hmm.
because we hold the groove. And that's number one. And play for the good of the music. When you do stuff for YouTube and stuff and you see a lot of stuff, it's not, I'm doing it too. You got to get people engaged, so you throw some chops or whatever.
Mm,
But in reality, it's whatever the music calls for, just play that. It's not a place for musicians to show off their stuff. Unless you call it, somebody calls for it, you
mm,
do it. And listen to all the other musicians all the time. It's about, more of listening and coming up with your parts by listening, and it's got to be a second nature, and you'll have a lot of fun.